With round 1 done and rounds 2 and 3 on the way tonight, I thought, it's time to take a look at who is the best available players on the board still left for these teams. And I'm going to go through about 40 players or so that I think are the best 40 on the board available for some of these teams, especially early in the second round. These are guys that I would target at these specific positions if you want to get better. Now, these are my own personal rankings, so you're going to find different people out there that have different rankings as well. But this is my big board. This is how I would rank these players. So let's get it started. So my number 1 player still left on the board is Mike Green. He's my number 7 overall player, and there are reasons why he is still available on day 2. As a player, he's phenomenal. I think he's about as close to Abdul Carter as you can get. With the level of prospect that he is. He is fantastic off the edge, explosive, good hands, violent hands, a factor in the run game. I mean, he makes plays. He's got elite bend. I have him as a top 10 player in this class for a reason. I think he's a phenomenal player. Now, the off-the-field stuff and the reason why he had to transfer away from Virginia Tech to Marshall, those question marks, clearly teams weren't comfortable with the situation. And I understand why. I get it. But that does mean that somebody on day 2 is going to get a certified steal of a player because he's just going to impact the game in so many different ways. He's one of my favorite players in this class, and I think that he should be one of the first names off the board in this round. And if I were a team early, in that middle range of the second round and I needed an edge rusher, I would be trying to do everything in my possibilities to trade up and get Mike Green. Now, my number 2 player is my number 16 player overall, and it's Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan. I love Will Johnson as a player, and I get why he fell as well. There's some injury concerns with him. His knee seems to be chronic issues. Whether or not that comes to fruition during his NFL career obviously remains to be seen. But he's a fantastic player, great off-ball corner, ball hawk type guy. I think he's the second best corner in this class behind Travis Hunter. His ability to break on passes and be so fluid in the hips and play multiple levels of the defense if he's in like a Tampa 2, playing that curl flat on the boundary is phenomenal. I think he's one of the I got him as 16. So I think he's one of the 16 best players in this class. And if you need a corner, he should absolutely be your target early on. Somebody's getting a really good player. My next player is number 18 overall on my board, Donovan Ezaraku, edge out of Boston College. I got a first-round grade on him. I was very, very impressed with what I saw from him on tape. He wins super cleanly, great around the edge, has that bend. I think he plays well in the run game. He's a little bit smaller, but I think he sets a good edge. His game against Armand Membu was a lot of fun to watch. They had a couple of battles. I think he's a really good player. I wanted the Lions to take him or Mike Green at that 28 spot. That's, if I want my team to take that player, I think highly of them. So I think that, again, like the Mike Green situation, I would try to trade up to get this guy. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player. And he's one of 3 edges early in this second round that I think probably should have been taken in the first round. Who's next? TreVeyon Henderson, running back, at Ohio State. A lot of people speculated that he would find his way into the first round on day 1. It didn't end up happening. Whether, it was true or not, he's available early in the second round, and I think he's going to go early in the second round. His home run hitting ability is unlike anybody else in this class. He goes from 0 to 60 very quickly, and I think that he also is the best pass protector in this class. He loves contact, just absolutely loves decimating people. If you want to just be fired up, go watch his pass protecting tape. Just go find, I don't know how you can find it, but watch this guy in Pass Pro. The way he picks up blitzes and free rushers is phenomenal. I mean, just teach tape, and he's physical at doing it. He loves to be violent, and he runs that way too. Now, his vision is a little bit of a question mark. You do hope that it gets better at the next level, but he can break tackles. I wish his contact balance was a little bit better, but he's got that home run hitting speed. He's a threat in the passing game as well. He won't be a 3-down back because I don't think he's got bell cow body type, but he will be able to play all 3 downs, and he's going to make a team that much better on the offensive side of the ball. Then I got Nick Scorton, number 25 overall prospect. I think he's my edge like 5 in this class, something like that. I love Scorton. I think that people are forgetting what he was like at Purdue and what he did in 2023. He was phenomenal. And then he put on some weight to play in the Texas A&M system. I thought he still played well. I thought it was still good tape. But you just ask him to lose a few more pounds, and he's back to 2023, and all of a sudden he's probably edge 3 in this class for me, above Ezeraku. Closer to Mike Green than he is right now, and Abdul Carter in that top tier. I think that, like the other two guys, you should be doing everything in your power to trade up for him. He's that good in my opinion, and he's going to make somebody very, very happy. Number 27 and 28 are two corners that I really, really like. They're my overall players. Those are where they rank on the overall board, and it's Benjamin Morrison, corner out of Notre Dame, and Siobhan Revel, the cornerback out of ECU. Those two players coming off of injuries, they kind of have similar stories. Injuries early in the season derailed the final season in college. For Benjamin Morrison, it was a hip/shoulder. For Siobhan Revel, it was a ACL tear in like week 4 or something. Both are fantastic players. I think Morrison is more refined, and when you talk about his hips, he's got some of the most fluid hips that you'll see in this class. Like, I think he's probably got the best hip fluidity in this class if he's fully healthy. The question is whether or not he will be at 100% coming back from this injury, because that was his best trait, is that he was able to stick in coverage with anybody. Go watch his 2023 game against Marvin Harrison Jr. at Ohio State. He was in Marvin Harrison Jr.'s hip pocket the entire game. He's phenomenal as a player, and he's a great man. He's a little on the smaller side, but he's a great man cover guy and plays the ball really well. One of my favorites in this class, but had to ding him a little bit because the unknown of the injury. You just don't know if he's going to come back and be that same player. That's the same with Revel. Revel is a freaky athlete. We're talking 6'3", super long arms. He's got a big frame as well. He is a very good man corner. He's still got to refine his technique a little bit, but that ball production, he's got big hands as well. And so he's going to be able to tip a lot of passes. There was one play in 2023 against Michigan where he's playing in that like curl flat type thing or type zone. And then he sees JJ's eyes hit a corner route behind him. And so he drops back and full extension, able to tip the ball. And that just shows kind of what Revel can be at his best. And that size is very, very hard to find in NFL quarterbacks. And I think that he's going to be somebody that thrives in the NFL because of that size and being a great athlete overall. I think that he's going to be somebody that when the team drafts him, it's going to be, how did we get this player? He's going to end up being one of those players at the end, at the end of their careers. We're like, damn, he went a lot lower than I thought he was going to, or than he should have, I should say. He's going to be a fantastic player in the NFL. And then I got a pair of wide receivers, both kind of similar X-style receivers. I would say they do a lot of similar things. Jaden Higgins and Trey Harris. Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State and Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. I got them the same exact grade on them. I think they're both fantastic players. Jaden Higgins is a little bit more of a ball winner, I think, than Trey Harris. Trey Harris is a little bit better of a separator. A lot bit of a better separator than Jaden Higgins, but I do think that Jaden Higgins' ability to catch nearly everything is very special. Trey Harris has good hands, but you do see those concentration drops on the tape, a little more than you would like to. But his ability to separate is unbelievable. Those two guys are just phenomenal players. And the fact that they weren't, they might have been considered in the first round, but the fact that they didn't go, I don't necessarily agree with, considering how important having good wide receivers in the NFL is and how cheap they are compared to the top of the market these days as rookies. I thought they should have gone. I love both of them. Would love them on my team. They're going to be special impact players on day one. And then it's Omar Norman Lott, who is my number 33 overall player on my big board. He is such a fun player to watch. He's got an explosive get off. He's violent at the point of attack. Got very heavy hands. Shows a lot of pass rush upside. He for whatever reason, Tennessee likes to rotate their players all the time, but he was somebody who I thought that got hurt by that because his tape was so good when he was on the field. just didn't give enough opportunities to really stack those box score counting stats, but also to just show who he is as a player. So it was a lot of fun to see him when he was on the field, blowing up the run game, making plays, pressures on the quarterback, making them get rid of the ball. When he did get home, it was nice to see. But I think he's one of my favorite interior defensive linemen in this class. I believe he is. He's number 5 for me behind all the guys who went in the first round. I thought that he could be considered as a first-round pick just because of how high I was on him and that pass rush upside. He wasn't, but that means somebody early in the second round is going to get a really good player. Number 34 on my overall big board is Caleb Johnson, and a lot of people don't like Caleb Johnson, and I understand that, but for me, he's an elite zone running back. And so if you give him, if you put him in a zone running game and you let him go to work, he's going to be phenomenal. And he doesn't have scheme flexibility. He's a little bit of a slow starter, and I get why teams don't like him. But he's so smooth as a runner, in my opinion. And the counter argument is that he's almost too smooth. It takes him forever to get going, and he's not exactly great contact balance wise until he does get going. If you hit him at 0 in the backfield, 0, 1, 2, 3 yards, you're likely going to bring him down just because he doesn't have that explosiveness. My opinion is that Derrick Henry's kind of the same way. All Derrick Henry needs is a crease. You give him a crease, and all of a sudden he's at top speed. Nobody can tackle him. I'm a big Caleb Johnson fan. I think that his ability to be a factor in the passing game is a little underrated as well. Obviously Iowa doesn't pass the ball a ton, so they didn't use him in that facet enough. But that Nebraska play, it's like that's what he can be. I don't think that's him every play, obviously, but those are the highs that get me excited about him as a prospect. And then I have Luther Burden, number 35 overall prospect. I'm not a huge Luther Burden fan. I'm going to be honest. I don't think he separates super well. I don't think he's great as a route runner. At the catch point, he's fine. But, where he's truly special and where I think that he's probably the best player in this class is after the catch. His ability to make people miss in the open field, get upfield. He's just faster with the ball in his hands. And a guy that I really respect in the draft community, Brett Coleman, pointed this out. There was something on tape that I just couldn't put my finger on, and then Brett said it. He's like, he's just faster with the ball in his hands than he is without, and that was absolutely right. That was the thing that I was like, why? What looks different? And so he's one of those guys you just have to get the ball. You're gonna have to manufacture touches for him. I don't think he's gonna be somebody that can go over the middle of the field consistently and be a ball winner, make those contested catches. Now he'll be able to create separation downfield. We saw that a lot on tape, is that his downfield separation numbers are better than his intermediate ones. And in the short game, he's got quick feet, and so he's able to create some separation there as well. Overall, I thought that there are a couple other wide receivers I'd rather have in this class than him, but he's still a good player in his own right, and he's the type of guy, you get him the ball, he's gonna make plays. And then this is probably gonna be the player that I'm highest on in this section. I'm a massive Josiah Stewart fan. He's my number 36 overall player in this class. I think he's better than Jalen Walker as a edge rusher. I straight up do. His film is littered with, and they're similar size profiles, and so that's why I was so confused why Jalen Walker was the one getting the first round hype when Josiah Stewart has a proven track record of being a great edge at the college level. Or Jalen Walker, it's a lot more projection. Josiah Stewart's game against USC is some of the best edge tape that I saw in this class. He is phenomenal at that get off, and he goes speed to power as good as anybody in this class. Like you wouldn't picture this guy. He's got like 31 3/4 inch arms. He's short. He's like 6 foot. He's 249 pounds, and he is a bulldog. He just runs dudes over like tackles. He runs tackles over. He sets a mean edge. He's a great run defender. He's got skills on the outside. He's got some good bend. Like, I don't understand why Josiah Stewart was a 3rd round pick for, consensus. He was in the 70s. Some people had him in the 80s. If it's size, then why did Jalen Walker go in the top 15 picks? Why was he a first-round pick for a lot of people? It didn't make sense to me when I think Josiah Stewart is every bit as good, or he's a better football player, and I think he's every bit as good of an athlete. I'm a massive Josiah Stewart fan. I love him as a player, and I think he's going to make he's going to be a steal in this class because he probably will go in the 3rd round, and that's way too low in my opinion. And then another edge that I'm super high on is Princely Umanmielen. He's such a fun player off the edge. He's out of Ole Miss. I mean, he's got those quick hands. He's got the bend. His get off is good. You would like to see him win in a few more ways. I think he does have a little bit of an inside counter game, but you want him to win with a little bit more power. Maybe go speed to power a little bit more. As a run defender, he could be a little bit better, but man, off the edge, whoo, there aren't many guys in this class that win as cleanly as he does. He's a lot of fun, and I think that, you know, in the same breath of Mike Green and Donovan Ezeraku and Nick Scorton and Josiah Stewart and now Umanmielen, there are so many good edges that are still available. And that's not even mentioning somebody else who's on my board. I've got a couple more guys, in fact, that are at the edge position that I think are going to, you know, our top 40 players left. I just think that all of these guys that I'm going to talk about are going to be special players, and whether that's in a rotational, you know, not every down type fit, or if it's an every down type thing, I think that these guys are going to make their teams very happy. Number 38, I have Kevin Winston Jr. He's probably my favorite safety in this class. Now, Malachi Starks was my best safety, but I had the most fun watching Kevin Winston Jr. He does not miss that. He's a heat-seeking missile, does not miss tackles. He's a good coverage player. He just makes plays on the ball. Now, the reason why I didn't have him as a true first-round pick and a top 10 player overall, because he probably would have been, I loved him that much, is because he is coming off of a serious injury, and it was a lower body injury. I forget exactly what it was. But he's such a good player, man. And I don't know why people are so low on him. He's so much fun to watch. Whoever gets him is getting an immediate day one impact starter. And that's bar none. You know, if the injuries check out and if he's able to get to training camp at fully healthy, I'm telling you, this guy is going to be a phenomenal player. He just is. Like, his ceiling is all pro caliber type stuff because of how consistent and reliable he is in the run game. He's a fantastic player. Like, he'll stack and shed. He runs the alley super well. There are just things that he does that instinctive safeties do that are at the top of their game. And somebody is going to get very, very lucky. Another surprise, my number 39 overall player is DJ Giddens, the running back out of Kansas State. I'm a massive DJ Giddens fan. I think the way that he runs the ball is not only aesthetically pleasing, but going to translate really well to the NFL. I think that his ability to make people miss in the open field, he's fast, he's explosive, he can run with a little bit of power. I would like the contact balance to be a little bit better. You know, he's not much of a threat in the passing game. Now, he can catch it underneath and get you a few yards, but he's not really going to be a threat. I think he's a phenomenal running back. Like, he's one of my favorites in this class. I remember the first time I watched him, I was like, this guy's not higher on people's boards. Why not? Big playability. He just consistently showed it. Good vision. Like, he just does such a good job finding the hole. He's one of my favorite players in this class. He's definitely a my guy. And then number 41, I have Xavier Watts. I like this second tier of safeties in this class outside of Malachi Starks. I feel really good about them and their projection. Xavier Watts is another one. He's a ball hawk. Like, go watch his highlights at Notre Dame, because then you'll see why I'm so high on him. Now, there are other things in his game that are nuanced that make him a good safety, but the highlights, the highs, he is one of the better ball hawks we've ever seen at the college level. His ability to play center field, read the quarterback's eyes, anticipate where he's gonna throw the football, and then make the play. It's just really good. There's no other two ways about it. He's a fantastic coverage player. If you didn't get Malachi Starks, I would say Xavier Watts is the guy. Now, the reason why he's not higher is because I don't think he's as great in the run game, and he's not an uber athlete, which does hurt a little bit. But you know, if I do think he runs the alley well, but I just don't think he's going to be an impact player in the run game. But you don't really want him to be. His job is to be either a split zone safety or he's going to be your deep guy. Like, he's going to be your center fielder making plays on the ball. I just think that somebody's going to be very happy, you know, in the second round with this guy. I know the Bengals fans know about Xavier Watts because of Al Golden. That's a popular pick in the second round. Is that he goes to the Bengals because of that Notre Dame defense connection. Number 42 overall player on the board, and another running back is Cam Skattebo. Excuse me. Skattebo is a super fun player, and he's somebody that I was a lot lower on in the process early on. And then as I started to watch more running backs, I was like, you know what? The speed is an issue, yes, but he's such an explosive runner. Like, his ability to jump cut and make people miss, and then also have the contact balance of, you know, close to an Ashton Jeanty level, where he's just, how is he still on his feet type stuff. It's special. Like, that's what it is. I think he's got better contact balance than Omarion Hampton. He doesn't quite have the long speed and the juice of Omarion Hampton, and I don't think he's as good of a pass catcher, or, you know, or as a pass protector. But I think that he can be an asset on early downs. And I think that as a short yardage running back, he's phenomenal. I ended up being a lot higher on him than I thought I was going to be after my initial watch. I probably went back and watched him like 2 or 3 times. No, it was 2 times. I watched him the initial time, then I watched him 2 more times after that, because I was like, the first time I was like, I want to see a little bit more juice. And then after watching a bunch more running backs, I was like, I went back to him just, you know, because he was one of the first ones I watched, just to kind of get a feel of how he compared after having a fresher set of eyes. And I was like, he just makes people miss and breaks tackles at such a high rate that I don't know how it's not going to work out. It kind of reminded me of how I felt about Bucky Irving last year. He was my number 1 running back initially, and then because my first like legitimate big board, because people weren't as high on him, I started to, you know, get in my head, and then I second guessed myself, and so, you know, he was my real first don't second guess yourself, trust your gut type player. And his ability to make people miss is why I was so high on him, because that trait, more than any other trait in my opinion, maybe vision, is the key indicator of success in the NFL, is being able to stay on your feet and make people miss. The guy I always think about when I think about that, even though he doesn't have the athletic traits that you want in a home run hitting running back, is David Montgomery. And somebody that I've grown very familiar with over the past couple of years. His ability to make people miss and fight for yards is why he's such a special running back. And that's why I like DJ Giddens so much. And that's why I like Cam Skattebo so much, is because those guys have those kinds of abilities where it's like, how are they still on their feet? And so I think Skattebo is going to be a good rotational back. I don't think he can be your every down back simply because he's not a great third down option. But I think in a rotation, he kind of maybe like a Kareem Hunt. You know, he's just going to wear down the defense. He'll spring a couple of, 15, 20-yard runs every now and again. But he's just going to be a special player that by the end of the game, he'll be gashing defenses because they're just going to be so worn down. Next up is number 44 overall prospect. That's Braden Swinson, the edge out of LSU. He's a fun player as well. Bigger edge. He does a great job in the run game setting the edge, but he's also got a lot of pass rush upside. He showed a lot of it at LSU. He's a player that I got to late in the cycle, but I was super fond of after I did. I think he's like edge 8 for me, which is not bad considering how many good edges in this class there are, in my opinion. Swinson is just such a fun player, and I think that a team's going to get very lucky with him in the second round because he kind of gives you the best of both worlds in the pass and the run game. My number 46 overall player is nose tackle Alfred Collins out of Texas. And the reason why I loved Alfred Collins so much is because he's stout in the run game. He takes up space, great two-gapper, but he's also got a little bit of pass rush upside. I think he does a really good job of using his hands to get free from offensive linemen, and he's got that power in his lower body as well to push the pocket a little bit. I think that he's what, if Kenneth Grant's the number 1 nose tackle, then I think he's the number 2 nose tackle in this class. He's just such a fun player, and that's, if the Lions would have gone nose tackle, this is the guy I would have wanted them to go because of that pass rush upside. Then I have his teammate and my 47th overall player, Vernon Broughton, super fun player. He's a little bit more of a 3 tech. He's got heavy hands. He does a great job getting to full extension and really locking out his arms in the run game. As a pass rusher, he showed flashes of being a good interior pass rusher. I'd like to see it a little bit more, and he's going to have to refine some stuff. But overall, I was super impressed with what I saw from him. That Texas defensive line is unbelievable because I'm a big fan of Barron Sorrell as well. And Colin Simmons, the true freshman, like that defensive line, we're going to look back at it in a couple of years and be like, how did Texas not win the national championship with those guys? Ohio State had good guys as well, but it really came down to the quarterback position, right? And that's why Quinn is such a low prospect for me. Next up, Carson Schlesinger, linebacker out of UCLA. He's a top 50 player for me. Really fun linebacker. Plays super physical in both the pass and the run game. He's instinctive. He shoots gaps. He makes plays in the backfield. He's a little bit on the smaller side, but I think you combine his coverage ability, his athleticism, his instincts. He's such a fun player to watch. I love him, and I think he's a great linebacker, a great off-ball linebacker. Some people are not going to like him as much because of that size, and he doesn't play with great play strength when he's taking on blocks. His arms are not the longest, and so he does have trouble getting to full extension and really creating space for himself. But I think that at this point you're banking on the player making plays because he's an instinctual smart player, and that's what I think Carson Schlesinger is. And then one of my favorite, another one of my wide receivers that I really like, who's in that X kind of mold, is Alec Ayomanor, the wide receiver out of Stanford. And what he does better than anybody in this class is his release package. It's varied, it's nuanced, it's phenomenal. Like, he does so many different release packages and does them really well. Like, he's got them all mastered. He gets off the line, like, you can't press him. And that's exactly what I want in my X receiver. I want him to be able to get off the line. So he's got the body to deal with the physicality, and he's got the foot quickness and foot speed and the detail to really be hard to hit, in the first place. So he's a fun player. He catches the ball really well. He's not a great route runner, but he's good enough. And he's physical. Good after the catch. He's got some speed as well. I just go back and watch, him against Travis Hunter a couple years ago in that 2023 game in that second half. I mean, he ran a lot of slants, yeah, but I mean, they gave it to him, right? And it felt like Travis really struggled to cover him. I think he's a very, very good player. Number 53 overall, I have Jalen Knoll. Another really fun wide receiver, great foot speed. He'll be a slot guy. His ability to get open is up there with some of the best in this class. He's a super fun route runner as well. Like, he does a really good job of setting guys up and being efficient in his movements so the guys can't stick in his hip pocket. He's fast after the catch too. He's got that straight line speed. So if you let him get over the top, he's gonna burn you. He's a fun player. I know a lot of people have him, higher as well. Some people are a little bit lower on him because of that size. I don't know. I don't think he's a great contested catch player at the catch point. Like, I don't think he's anything special, but his ability to get open is phenomenal. Nick Emanwari is next. He's my number 54 overall player. He's a safety that I was a little bit lower on. I think that the athletic traits absolutely stand out and that there are flashes of those athletic traits being huge for him at South Carolina. I just thought that his instincts were a little bit worse than the 3 safeties I had ahead of him. And to me, the most important thing when you're playing safety is your instinctual anticipation. And I just thought he lacked that a little bit. Now, he does have some really fun highs on his tape. And I think that he can be a good run defender as well as a good cover guy. And I think if you put him in the box, he'll succeed. I think he will. He's got the body type. He's got the strength. He's got the explosiveness to be an impact player near the line of scrimmage. But but I also think he can play in coverage. If you need him to play split zone, he's got the length, he's got the speed to cover ground. I just think it's that anticipation and that instincts in coverage that just need a little bit more work. And it's an experience thing, but it is a little bit more of a projection for him than it is for the other guys, in my opinion. And that's why I was a little bit lower on him. But I think in the second round, if you can get him, you know, you're doing something right. I would take the other two guys over him. Let me clarify that. If Kevin Winston and or Xavier Watts are still on the board, he is a little bit of a blend of both, and so maybe that is what a team likes more. But I would rather have those guys over him. Next up is Ariante Ursary, the tackle out of Minnesota. I liked Ursary a lot. I wasn't as high as some people, but I thought he was a good tackle. I think he pass sets really well. I was a little bit underwhelmed with him in the run game. As big of a body as he is, I thought he didn't move people as well as much as I would have liked him to. But I think he does a great job out of his stance, getting good depth and width on his drop or on his set. He can counter pretty well in the inside. He's got good feet. You know, he's got the arm length as well. I just, you know, as a run blocker, he's just got to do a lot better job in technique and in terms of his overall play strength. I think could be better. But he's a good tackle. If you missed out on, you know, the top 5 guys, I think that this is a nice consolation prize in that position. Number 56 overall player is Kyle Williams, the wide receiver out of Wazoo. And I remember Kyle Williams from 2022, watching Wazoo games with Cam Ward at quarterback. They made some just insane plays. Like, I mean, Cam Ward passes, and then, you know, the Kyle Williams contested catches down the field were unbelievable. And he's going to be a super fun player. He moves really well. He's a good deep threat. He can work in that short to intermediate game. He is a little bit of a smaller body, and I think that that's going to be something that does hurt him a little bit more. But I mean, he's got good hands. Like, he's just going to be such a solid player for a team. I don't think he can be number 1, but I think he's going to be a really solid number 2 in the league. Number 58 is Trey Amos, the cornerback, out of Ole Miss. I'm just not a big Trey Amos fan. I thought his coverage was a little bit weaker than some other people did, apparently. He's a fine athlete. I didn't love his technique. I thought that he got out of phase quite a bit. But in the second round, like, I'm willing to bet on those traits, you know, that he becomes a little bit more consistent in the NFL, because I just thought that inconsistency was there. He had some great flashes of, you know, just absolutely walling off wide receivers and being able to just shut them down at the line of scrimmage. I just wanted to see it a little bit more. That was all. Harold Fannin is my number 60 overall player, and this feels high compared to where most people have Harold Fannin now. And I'm not a big Harold Fannin guy in the first place, and so it feels weird to be one of the higher people on him than it seems like consensus. But like, you can't bash the production. He did it against everybody. He did it against Penn State. He did it against Texas A&M. Now, I don't know if it's translatable to the NFL based off of the fact that he's just not a good athlete. He's one of the stiffest runners I've ever seen. Looks like he's got like no mobility in his hips at all, but he makes it work. It's very, very odd. I don't think he's great at anything. I just think he's a good. I think he's a good player. Bad athlete is probably how I would describe him. He's got solid hands. I just think that if you need a tight end, even though he's my number 60 overall player, he doesn't block well. He's much more of like that fullback, H-back type build. I would just like, even though it sounds so counterintuitive, even though he's my 60th overall player, I would wait until the third round to take him if he's there. I just, as a tight end, it's not, unless it's a super big position of need. I would almost rather have Gunnar Helm, because I think he's a better tight end than Harold Fannin. I think Fannin doesn't really fit anything. He's shorter. He's not a ball winner. He didn't do one thing well, and that's kind of where my hang up on him is. But I think he's a good player. It just doesn't make any sense, and I can't explain it. And then my number 62 overall player is somebody who I'm super, super high on, and that's Pooh Paul Jr., otherwise known as Chris Paul Jr., out of Ole Miss, linebacker. I thought he was so smart. Now, he's got super short arms. I think like 31-inch arms, which is a tough draw at linebacker, but I think he's so smart in the way he plays in the run game. And in my opinion, he does a really good job taking on blocks, even though he does have those shorter arm lengths or shorter arms. I think that it might be an issue at the NFL level, but I'm willing to take a bet on him in the second round. I think he's such a fun player. I think he's a good cover guy as well. Smart. He's a good athlete. Not an overwhelmingly insane athlete, but he's gonna make plays for you. He's gonna be super reliable. I don't think he's gonna be somebody that he's gonna hurt your defense. So it's somebody that I would absolutely take in the second round. Then I have number 63 overall. I have Darian Porter out of Iowa State. He's a corner, super lengthy athlete, like tested, I think 9.99, like 9.99 or 9.98 RAS score. Freak athlete, just super raw player. This was he made the transition from wide receiver to corner. Didn't really play corner until this year, and then he was a rotational guy at Iowa State. And so you really just don't have the technique, but he's a football player. And there was a play against Iowa where he sees they're running a play action boot throwback to the tight end Luke Lachey, or Luke, was it Leahy? I don't know. I'm going to say Luke Lachey, who's running like a wheel on he late released out on a wheel, and Porter, who's playing in a flat because he sees Caleb Johnson as like a screen guy, sits on the screen or sits on Caleb Johnson, and then notices Cade McNamara's eyes peel back. He opens his hips, falls back, makes the interception. I'm like, that's an elite instinctual play. Like those are plays that high IQ corners make. So it's there. The flashes are there, and I'm very much a guy that believes in he just needs more experience. Give him the time, give him the reps, and he's going to be a fun player. I do think he's a little bit better in off zone, just because he learning man technique now. He is a great athlete, but it's going to be hard for him. I would rather him just be able to use his hands, because he's got good hands, and his instincts to make plays on the ball. And then another player I'm super high on, number 64 overall, is Femi Oladejo, edge out of UCLA. He's another one of those guys that's a little bit raw in terms of his pass rush ability, but the flashes and the overall athletic traits are just, they're awesome. And like that, this is kind of where I've, like, if you told me that Shamar Stewart and Mykel Williams were available in this range, I'd be thrilled. Like, sign me up. Like, if I can get a Femi Oladejo, who's kind of got that similar lack of production, although he didn't really have a lack of production. Like, the numbers were better than the other two, but like the lack of refinement in his abilities. But I also get that upside. Like, I'm so thrilled. Like, I'd be so happy. Like, Femi is one of those guys that I want the Lions to target in the second round at pick 60. Like, he is just such a good player. He just needs that experience. Give him the reps, and he's gonna make you right. Like, that's just the type of player he is. Number 65 overall is Jacob Parrish. He's another one of my guys. Man corner out of Kansas State. I loved watching him. He's not the stickiest guy in coverage. He doesn't have like most fluid hips and will have to play catch up a little bit. But I think that overall, when you talk about his physicality, his ability to make plays on the ball and be kind of a gnat in the pass game, and outside of Tet McMillan, was able to stay in hit pockets quite a bit. I think that he's a fantastic player. Like, I would rather have him in the third round, because that seems to be where a lot of people are projecting him, than Maxwell Harrison or Trey Amos in the first round. Like, that was my thing this entire process with the corners, was that give me Parrish in the third round over Hairston or Amos in the first round. Now that we're in the second round, I would take Amos over Parrish, but I love Parrish. If you can get him in the third round, that's a steal in my opinion. The number 66 overall, I have Darius Alexander. Now, Alexander's a player that has the frame. Like, he can be a great nose tackle. He's got the frame for it. He's big. He's athletic. He tested super well. The issue with him, and my biggest problem, and a lot of people's biggest problem with him, is It took him 5 years out of back school to see any sort of production. Some guys are late bloomers. I get it. But even still, this past season, he was so inconsistent. Now, you saw the big plays. Like he was able to absolutely destroy guys at the line of scrimmage and make plays in the backfield. But then he also had plays kind of like Kenneth Grant. But I think Kenneth Grant's a better athlete, and you just wanted to see more consistency. And Kenneth Grant's also younger, like by 2 or 3 years. But I think Darius Alexander in the second round is a much better option than late first. I think that if you take him mid to late second round, I'm much more. What's the word I'm looking for? I feel much better about that pick than I would if you take him early in the second round or in the late first round, because some people were saying, hey, this guy could be somebody that sneaks in the back end. I wouldn't like that. David Walker out of Central Arkansas is my number 67 overall player. The big question with him is the big question with him is the competition, level of competition he played at the FCS level. Because he's got the traits, he's got the skill set, he's got the bend, he's got the explosiveness, he's a compact body that plays really freaking strong. It's just, how is that going to translate to the NFL where you're not going to be playing against, mid-level FCS opponents every single week? I'll tell you what, I had such a fun time watching him come off the edge and just wreak havoc on some of those teams. I think that he's a guy in the second round that teams are going to be like, maybe they're going to start thinking about it, but I think he'll be more of a third round guy, and that's when you're going to be like, yep, that's a steal. He's such a fun player. The explosiveness combined with the power and the speed. He's got hands. I just think he wins in so many different ways. As a run defender, he's fine. I didn't think he played particularly, great. I thought he was average. He's not going to kill you. He's not going to be somebody that you can't play on early downs. But he's going to make all his money on his third down pass rushes. It's just, how does that translate to the NFL from the mid-level FCS? And then I have Jack Besh out of TCU, wide receiver, my number 68 overall player. Another, this wide receiver run in the second round that we're about to see is, they're going to go early and they're going to go often. And Besh is somebody that is a separator. He's kind of in that Cooper Kupp mold where he's not fast, but he will create separation. He will get open. He's got great hands. And then even after the catch, he does a little bit. I wouldn't say he's tough to tackle in the sense that you're gonna need to bring 1 or 2 guys or extra in order to bring him down. He's physical. He's not super make you miss in space or long speed type guy, but he's gonna be catch the ball, turn up field immediately, maybe break a tackle, keep going, and then he's going to fall forward for an extra 4 or 5 yards, after that contact. So he's a really fun player. He's got good hands as well, if I didn't mention that already. He'll be somebody that goes in that mid-second round that I'll be like, yep, I absolutely get it. He's a fun player. Number 69 overall, nice, is running back RJ Harvey. This is a guy that I loved after 2023. He was one of my favorite running backs in college football. And then this past season in 2024, I thought it was a little bit more of a down year. He's so explosive moving laterally. His jump cuts, his cutting in general, his ability to make people miss in the open field is just if you could, chef's kiss. If you could make somebody that could make guys miss in the open field, it's him. I thought his vision needs some work. And that's really where I struggled with him. He's also not great. He doesn't have great contact balance. He does go down on first contact quite a bit. But the vision is where I really struggled with him, because he likes to bounce runs a lot, all the time. If he doesn't love running between the tackles. It's not where he's successful. And so if there's any sort of clog in the middle, he's taking a jump cut and he's going to try to make it outside. And there were a couple other times where he had cutback lanes in between the tackles that he just didn't take because he likes running outside in space. And I think that's, if he continues to do that, it's gonna plague him at the NFL level. But he's just so exciting to watch, and he's just a super aesthetically pleasing runner. And I found myself, I find myself moving towards those guys and being attracted by those guys a little bit more than like clunky runners. He's a player that I'm willing to be wrong on late in the second round. I don't want to take him early, but if it's late in the second round and there's a run on running backs and he's up there as one of the better guys left, I'm okay being wrong on him, because if you are right and he does hit, then you've got a super fun player that's going to make a lot of big plays for you. My number 70 overall player is somebody that I'm like a billion times higher on than anybody else in this class, or in terms of consensus, and that's Willie Lampkin, center out of UNC. Now, he played guard at center. He played guard at UNC. I don't know what's going on with my brain right now, but he is just super rocked up. He's 5'11". He's a bowling ball. Plays with fantastic leverage because of it, but has this bulldog mentality that he's going to block you until the whistle. He's gonna move you. He's got a lot of junk in the trunk. Like, he's got a lot of power in his lower half, and he moves well. Like, I was super impressed with him. I was like, the only reason this guy isn't going any higher is because he's 5'11". But I love Willie Lampkin. I think he's such a fun player. As an interior offensive lineman, I think he's like my number 4 interior offensive lineman, or number 4 or 5 interior offensive lineman. I like him better than Jared Wilson, Jake Majors, like all the other centers. He's got a special place in my heart. And if you're a team that needs an interior offensive lineman, preferably center, he's your guy. Like, late second round, early third round, like, snatch him up. He's going to be... I just feel so good about his projection to the NFL because of his mentality and his leverage that he plays with. Now, he probably is going to struggle with some of the bigger nose tackles, like your Dexter Lawrences and your Quinn Williams, but who's not going to struggle with those guys, right? So he's a fun player, and there's a reason why I'm high on him in the third round, late second round, rather than being a first round player, right? And then my final player I'll talk about here, as my top 40 best players available as we enter day 2, is guard out of Purdue, Marcus Mbao. And he was a guy that played right tackle for them last year. He's kind of in the similar mold of Armand Membu. He's just a little bit smaller, has the shorter arms, but he moves really well. He'll be great in an outside zone scheme. I think he's physical. As a pass protector is where he needs a little bit of work. He's got to work on his anchor. He might just be a little too light. Might have just got to work on that lower body strength and core strength, just to work on being able to anchor on the inside. But as a run blocker, I think his ability to get out in space and make an impact and get up to the second level and really erase linebackers was super fun to watch. He's somebody that I think a lot of people have just in this range of players. They recognize, his deficiencies, but they also recognize that he's just a really good football player, and he does that one thing really well. And if you can get him to be a little bit better as a pass protector, then all of a sudden you could be talking about a Pro Bowl guard that you got in the late second, early third. He's one of the players that I enjoyed watching the most, just because in terms of offensive linemen, I like athletic guys that can get out, that don't have heavy feet, but also play with power. And there's only a handful of guys in every class that have those two traits, that are athletic but also play with power. He's one of them that I thought did play with a good amount of power in the run game. He's just going to struggle to take on a bull rush, if you get him in the chest. So those are my top 40 players still available left in this class. If there's anybody else that I'm trying to look down the board, Azareye'h Thomas, I'm not super high on. Some people will probably have him as a second round grade. He's a man cover out of Florida State. I thought that his athletic profile, even given how good of a man cover guy he is, but his athletic profile, it hurts him too much. And we'll see if it, how it translates to the NFL. But I just watched too much Terrion Arnold last year, and I thought Terrion Arnold was a good technique guy over athleticism, and he got burned quite a bit in the NFL. He's kind of handsy. Azareye'h Thomas is kind of the same. So he's my 78 overall player. Not a big Isaiah Bond fan. He might go today. I'm trying to think of some other names that might go. I do like CJ West. He's another nose tackle. And Jordan Phillips, he's another guy as well. Those guys might go a little bit early today. I have third run grades on them, so You know, if they go in the second round, it is what it is. I like them as third-round players, but if they go in the second round, I'm not going to fault the team for taking it. I think they're really good at what they do. They just don't have much pass rush upside. They're just stout run defenders. And then the guys that are probably going to go early in terms of the interior offensive lineman that I'm lower on that I'm going to talk about real quick are Tate Ratledge and Jared Wilson, the center, Jared Wilson, and then guard Tate Ratledge out of Georgia. I was super underwhelmed with their tape. I thought they didn't have great play strength. They didn't move particularly well. I was kind of disappointed with how they performed. So in pass protection, I thought they were solid. I just thought in the run game that they didn't give me enough. So I'm a little bit lower on them. I have third to fourth round grades on both of them. It is what it is. I understand that I'm lower on them than a lot of other people, and maybe I'll be wrong. I know Jared Wilson had a lot of first round grades from people. I just disagree with that. I didn't see a first round center on tape. So, yep, those are the couple of guys that you might see go today that I'm just a little bit lower on than consensus. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm super excited about day 2. Rounds 2 and 3 are probably my favorite in this class because you're still getting good players, but there's a lot more action that happens. There's more compressed time between picks. We're able to see a lot more. We're able to see the draft classes shape up a lot more. So probably my favorite day of the 3. And I know that if you're watching this video, you're also super excited for tonight. So I hope you guys enjoy as well. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you at the flip. See ya.